There are truths so profound, so potent, that for ages they were hidden from the eyes of the unprepared. These truths were etched in symbols, sealed in temples, guarded by priesthoods, whispered only in shadows where firelight flickered on stone. The ancients knew that not every soul was ready to bear the weight of wisdom, for wisdom carries not only the promise of liberation, but also the risk of destruction if misused. And so, they locked their knowledge away, not with iron keys or bolts of stone, but with a far subtler lock of human readiness. The key, dear one, was never outside of you. It was always waiting within, dormant, until the moment your spirit aligned with it. That is why you are here, now, listening, not by chance, but by the inevitability of your path. The forbidden knowledge you are about to hear has always been present, hidden in plain sight. It was painted in the stars, inscribed in the geometry of the pyramids, encoded in the myths of gods and heroes. But to the unawakened, these were nothing more than stories, curiosities, the relics of ancient minds. Only when the veil begins to lift, only when you begin to sense that reality itself is layered and that there is something more beneath the surface, does the meaning emerge. The ancients taught that knowledge protects itself. It cloaks itself until the initiate is ready, and then, suddenly, everything aligns. The symbol that once seemed random now speaks directly to your soul. The parable that once sounded like allegory now becomes a living truth. Long ago, when the world was younger, initiates entered vast stone halls carved deep into the earth, carrying torches and wearing robes embroidered with symbols of the cosmos. There they were told secrets that could alter their perception of life and death itself. Yet these were not secrets in the ordinary sense. They were not trivial or mere facts. They were maps of consciousness, guiding the seeker beyond the illusion of separation into the unity of all things. But only a few could hear these words without twisting them into tools of domination or greed. Thus, these mysteries were hidden, not to be cruel, but to be merciful. For what is forbidden to the unready is sacred to the awakened. You might ask, why now? Why are these truths stirring, resurfacing in our time, breaking the silence of centuries? The answer lies in you and in the world around you. We are living at the turning of great cycles, when the veil between worlds thins and collective consciousness ripens. Humanity, once distracted by survival and blinded by material illusions, is now stepping into a moment where eyes open wider and ears hear deeper. If you are listening, it means you are already part of this shift. You are being called, as countless others are, to remember what was once forgotten. One of the central truths long withheld is the mystery of vibration. Everything you see, hear, and touch is not solid, but a pattern of energy oscillating at specific frequencies. The ancients knew this. They encoded it in the chants of mantras, in the resonance of temples designed to amplify sound, in the rhythm of their rituals. They taught that by attuning yourself to higher vibrations, you change not only your inner state, but also the reality that reflects back to you. To the unready, this teaching seemed absurd, even laughable. But to those with eyes to see, it is a key to shaping destiny itself. Think of the simple act of speaking words. A word is a vibration, a sound carried through the air. But every word holds meaning, intent, and resonance. When spoken with awareness, words become spells, not the kind of fantasy magic you see in tales, but the real shaping of consciousness through vibration. This is why prayers, affirmations, and chants endure across cultures. The initiate learns that every thought is a silent vibration, every emotion a wave rippling into the unseen. To awaken to this truth is to realize that your life has never been random. You have been both author and actor, shaping your experience unconsciously. The forbidden knowledge teaches you to step into conscious authorship. Another mystery once sealed is a principle of correspondence. The truth that patterns repeat from the smallest scale to the vastest. As above, so below. As within, so without. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a law. The structure of galaxies mirrors the spirals of seashells. The rhythm of your heartbeat reflects the cycles of the cosmos. The storms in your mind are echoed by the storms in your world. Once you perceive this correspondence, you begin to understand that nothing is disconnected. And so, if you wish to alter the world around you, you must first alter the world within. This is a hidden key the ancients embedded in myth and architecture, waiting for the day you would finally see it. They told their truths through symbols. Why? Because symbols bypass the logical mind and speak directly to the unconscious. A circle is not just a shape. It whispers of eternity, of cycles, of the infinite without beginning or end. A serpent swallowing its own tail is not merely an image. It is the eternal renewal, the death that births life again. These images were not meant to decorate stone, but to awaken the soul. When you see them now, something stays, not because the symbol has changed, but because you have. The forbidden becomes revealed, not because the gate was open from the outside, but because you unlocked it from within. The parable of the hidden lamp tells us this. A man buried his lamp beneath a basket, hiding its light. He told no one it was there, for he feared thieves would misuse its flame. Many walked past in darkness, never knowing what lay so close. But one day, a seeker who had grown weary of the dark noticed the faintest glow leaking from the basket's edge. He uncovered it, and the lamp's light filled the room. So too with these truths. They have been hidden in plain sight, waiting for the seeker who grows restless with shadows, who notices a faint glimmer and days to look closer. And yet, knowledge is not enough. Wisdom requires practice. What good is it to learn that vibration shapes reality if you never master your own? What good is it to see correspondence if you fail to apply it? The ancients did not merely listen, they practiced. They rose with the sun to harmonize with its rhythm. They meditated to quiet the noise of the mind. They spoke words with intention, knowing each was a spell. They used ritual not for spectacle, but for alignment. And so, you too are invited not just to listen, but to live this knowledge. Begin with awareness of vibration. Notice the words you speak. Do they carry anger, fear, despair, or hope, love, clarity? Choose one small act each day. Replace a word of limitation with a word of possibility. Whisper to yourself before sleep, not what you fear, but what you wish to see. Observe your inner correspondence. When the storm rages outside, look within and calm your inner waters. When the world feels fractured, seek unity within yourself. You will begin to see that the world bends in response. Slowly at first, then unmistakably. This is how the forbidden knowledge becomes embodied, not as abstract ideas, but as living truth. And now, you begin to sense why this knowledge was withheld. Imagine if one without wisdom understood that vibration shapes reality. Imagine if one with greed or hatred saw that their thoughts could bend outcomes. They would not heal, they would destroy. That is why the mysteries were guarded. But you are here because your soul has matured. You are ready to use these truths for awakening, not for corruption. That is the difference between the initiate and the tyrant. One bends reality to serve the self. The other bends the self to serve reality. Yet there is more, always more. For the forbidden knowledge is not a single key, but a set of keys, unlocking deeper chambers of the temple of truth. You have entered the first hall, but beyond it lie others still, waiting for your step. And as you take this path, you may notice life itself shifting around you. Encounters that once seemed random become charged with meaning. Symbols appear in your dreams, in your daily wanderings. The veil between inner and outer grows thin. This is not imagination, it is initiation. You have begun to see what others cannot, not because you are superior, but because you are ready. And so you stand at the threshold of the deeper halls. The ancients would have said that you are no longer a wanderer in the dark, but a seeker standing before the gate of initiation. What lies ahead is not merely more information, but transformation, a reshaping of the very lens through which you perceive existence. You must understand, forbidden knowledge is never about possession, it is about alignment. To seek it as treasure is to remain blind, but to let it shape your being is to awaken. The hidden orders of Egypt, of Babylon, of Greece, and of the ancient temples of the East all knew this truth. They understood that reality is layered like concentric veils, and that the ordinary senses reveal only the outermost garment. Behind the garment is the body of truth, and behind that, the soul of truth. Those who came unprepared, greedy for power or dazzled by spectacle, were permitted only glimpses. But those who came humbled, ready to shed their illusions, were allowed to enter. What you are hearing now would once have required years of testing, years of silence and trial. And yet you are here, for your life itself has been your initiation. The struggles you endured, the losses you survived, the yearning you could not silence, all were part of your training. They have led you to this very moment, when the seal begins to break. The ancients whispered of a hidden current beneath all existence, an invisible river that flows through both matter and spirit. Some call it the breath of God, others the serpent fire, others still the logos. In truth, it has many names, for it is beyond names. It is the pulse that causes stars to burn and seeds to sprout. To awaken is to sense this current moving not only around you but within you. You feel it when you are still enough, when the chatter of the mind subsides and you sense a hum, a presence, as though the universe itself is breathing through you. To the unready, this was forbidden. To you, it is an invitation. Consider the ancient story of Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods and brought it to humanity. On the surface, it seems like a tale of defiance, but in truth, it encodes the mystery of forbidden knowledge. Fire is power, yes, but also illumination. Prometheus was punished not because fire itself was evil, but because giving it to those unprepared brought suffering. Humanity had to learn responsibility before wielding flame. So too with esoteric knowledge. Illumination without readiness burns, but illumination with wisdom transforms. This is why you are only now awakening. The fire comes not to scorch you, but to guide you. The ancients also taught the principle of polarity. All things exist in duality, light and dark, life and death, expansion and contraction. To the ordinary mind, these opposites battle endlessly, each striving to conquer the other. But the initiate sees differently. Opposites are two ends of the same continuum, two notes of one scale. To understand, this is a step beyond fear, for you realize that darkness is not the enemy of light, but its partner. Just as a seed must be buried in the dark earth before it can reach for the sun, so must your soul descend into the depth before it can ascend to the heights. This truth, once forbidden, now becomes clear. The very struggles you feared were not punishments, but initiations. Practical wisdom grows from this. When you feel sorrow, do not resist it. Instead, trace its line to joy, for they are bound. When you feel fear, do not flee, lean in, for fear hides a key to courage. When you encounter conflict, look deeper, for within it lies a seed of harmony. To apply the law of polarity is to become alchemists of the soul, transmuting lead into gold, shadow into light. The uninitiated curse their misfortunes. The awakened sees them as raw material for transformation. This is how the forbidden becomes a path to mastery. Now, consider the greatest of mysteries, the union of spirit and matter. For ages, humans believed themselves trapped between flesh and eternity, torn between body and soul. But the ancient initiates knew a deeper truth. They saw the body not as a prison, but as a temple. They saw the earth not as exile, but as classroom. They saw matter itself as crystallized spirit, slowed vibration, clothed in form so that consciousness might experience itself. This teaching was hidden, for to the unready it was too dangerous. To declare the body sacred was to challenge priests who held power over flesh. To say the earth is divine was to topple systems that sought to enslave, and so the truth was veiled. But now you hear it, because you are ready to honor it. To awaken is to stop fleeing from life and begin embracing it as a very field of your transformation. Every breath, every sensation, every encounter becomes an initiation. You do not need to escape the world. You need to see through it. The ancient Hermeticists would meditate upon a single grain of sand, knowing that in its form lay the same laws that govern stars. You too can practice this. Hold something simple, a leaf, a stone, a flame, and look into it until you see beyond its outer form. Notice how it reflects cycles, patterns, energies. In this way, the forbidden knowledge ceases to be abstract and becomes embodied. The final veil to speak of here is the mystery of unity. For all the laws of vibration, correspondence, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect lead back to one truth. There is no separation. All is one. You are not a fragment cast adrift, but a cell in the infinite body of consciousness. Your life is not random, but woven into the great tapestry. When you hurt another, you wound yourself. When you heal yourself, you heal the whole. This truth was forbidden because it dissolves control. It erases the illusion of hierarchy, of master and slave, of ruler and ruled. For if all is one, then power belongs to none and wisdom belongs to all. Only now, as humanity begins to awaken, can this truth be spoken without fear. But remember, unity is not merely a concept to admire. It is a reality to embody. Practice it. When you look into another's eyes, recognize yourself. When you walk among trees, feel their life as your own. When you breathe, Sense that you are inhaling not only air but the spirit of the cosmos. Each act of remembrance aligns you with the forbidden truth that has now become revealed. And as you practice, you will notice your life transform in subtle yet undeniable ways. Synchronicities multiply. Peace emerges in moments once filled with chaos. Love arises not as emotion, but as recognition. You realize you are not awakening to something new. You are awakening to what has always been. And so we return to you, here, now. You have journeyed through forbidden halls, seen symbols come alive, touched truths once sealed. You may feel both awe and trembling, for such is the nature of revelation. But do not rush. Let the knowledge settle in you like seed in fertile soil. Tend it daily with practice, with awareness, with compassion. For this is not the end of your initiation, but only the beginning. You have opened one door. Beyond it are many others. Life itself will guide you to them, if you are willing to walk with open eyes and a steady heart. Remember, you did not stumble upon these words by chance. You were meant to hear them. This is your moment of alignment, the signal that your soul is ready to bear the weight of wisdom. Carry it not as a burden, but as a light, illuminating not only your path but the path of those around you. For the hidden fire of knowledge was never meant to be hoarded. It was meant to spread, to kindle others into awakening. And as this journey concludes, let me speak to you not as teacher to student, but as one initiate to another. Guard this wisdom, but do not hide it. Share it where it is welcome. Live it so that others may see. The forbidden has become revealed because you are ready to embody it. Walk in this truth, and watch as reality itself reshapes around you. If these words stirred something deep within you, it is because you were destined to hear them. You are no longer wandering blind. You are awakening. And as you continue on this path, remember that there are deeper chambers still. To take this journey with me further, let your presence be known. Leave your mark upon this space, a word, a thought, a sign of your initiation, so that others may find their way too. Subscribe not as a passive act, but as a vow to your own awakening. Let the light of this message spread by sharing it, so that others prepared for it may hear. And in the hidden spaces, the pinned comment, the link left in the description, there awaits a gift of further initiation, placed there for those who feel the call to go deeper. The time of secrecy is ending. The time of awakening has begun. You have found this because you were ready. Carry the flame now, and let it guide you through the shifting world ahead.